Now, if you're homeschooling your child during this pandemic, it's been some extra stress on your life. You're not alone. We know. So, we got a few tips that'll provide a little recess in your day. This is your official homeschooling guide. Graphics! Joining us is co-principal and founding teacher of the City School, a middle school here in Los Angeles. Please welcome Candace McCray. Candace!
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for joining us, Candace. Let's get right to it. Is establishing a routine with kids at home right now. How important is it?
It's so important. It's just going to help with providing consistency and order and making sure that, students are learning to gain that independence. But I really feel for families right now for whom a schedule or routine doesn't feel feasible. And it's okay. You're just doing the best that you can. You really want to work on not comparing yourself to what you see on Instagram of like the perfect schedules. Just getting any type of routine together is really important, and it can be flexible. It doesn't have to be rigid. And maybe that means that you're planning in broader swaths of time, so maybe like 2-hour blocks, rather than trying to minute plan and control your student's day.
Good.
So what would you say is an example of like a good schedule / routine for homeschooling?
I think a good schedule is going to really take into consideration that we are not trying to mirror the actual school day schedule, which is 8 hours. Your student's not going to be doing anything for 8 hours at home. Maybe you're going to get 3 to 4 hours of academic time, and that's chunked throughout the day. So it's important to remember that. It's also important to remember that they need physical activity at least 30 minutes a day. And so wherever that fits in, and if you can and you have it available to you, to get them outside as much as possible. For our school, what we've done is we have a schedule that starts at 9. Our students do 3 classes or 3 subjects a day. And so the schedule will really go from 9 to 10:30. Maybe they're doing math and the teacher's providing activities and exercises and different things within that time block. And then they'll have a break. Then they'll go on to English. Same thing, the teacher's providing activities for them to do, break. They're ending their school day at about 2, and that's not consistent from 9 to 2. It's with breaks within. And then we also have office hours so that students can kind of check in one-on-one with the teacher via email or Google Voice. And we tell our families it's okay if you want to start earlier, start later, whatever works for your family. If you need to shave something off for that day, that's totally fine.
And how important do you think it is to finish every assignment?
That's my question. Now. Yeah. Right now, it's really about effort toward completion. It's not so much about getting the assignment perfect. Completion. But really, this pandemic has illuminated a lot of the gaps in access. So there are families who do not have internet or have inconsistent internet, or for whom the whole family is maybe working off one device, or if schools are providing packets that families are having to go and pick up, there are families for whom their transportation is unreliable and inconsistent. And so schools have really adopted grading policies based on completion. And what that allows is for the parents to relax a little bit, communicate with the school and say, hey, this particular assignment we weren't able to get to. And schools should really be being empathetic because we understand that there are all these access issues.
Yeah.
Yes. And how do parents separate being a parent and then being a teacher? Because sometimes those two kind of cross. I told you, you know what 14 minus 4 is. Come on, dude.
Yes. I think it's important that we're not asking parents to be teachers. We're asking them to utilize the teachers that they have at their disposal, right? So teachers are still, some are doing live lessons, some are doing pre-recorded. They're curating content and making sure that parents have what they need. And the parent's role is really facilitator, coach, maybe teacher's assistant. Your job is to make sure that your student has that routine and that they're being able to log on, but you are not responsible for remembering 6th grade math concepts. So if it gets to the point where you are fighting and you're like, the student's crying, you're crying, this isn't how my teacher said to do it, stop. Call the teacher, email the teacher, just like separate, because honestly, the peace in your home is going to have a longer lasting impact on their education, their learning, than you being the one to make sure that you are teaching the concepts right. So definitely separating it. You are the coach, and bring in those teachers that are available to you.
She said the peace in your home. I'm here for that. Do you have any tips for each level of grade school?
Yeah. So for elementary school, they have so much energy, and you really, really want to be in tune with that. And so movement is incredibly important. So if they're on their tablet, on their device, working on a worksheet, allowing them to stand, fidget, move. So it's not just about being able to go outside and play, but even just that movement helps them focus. For them, it's going to be really, really important that we stick to that 3 hours spaced out over time, and that we're providing a lot of breaks for them. And then whenever possible, trying to recreate hands-on learning experiences. So if your teacher shows you a demo lesson with cereal manipulatives and you have some cereal, allowing them to kind of really touch and play. For middle school, those are my favorites, but it's really about working through independence and self-advocacy. So they're at an age where you can really include them in kind of looking at their schedule and, talking about how they learn best. And they also have email accounts, and they can email their own teacher as well. So just really kind of building in that self-advocacy at that point. High school, they should be able to do it on their own. So it's about building in systems for accountability to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then for both middle and high school, so much of their social life and their development is outside of the home. They have the friends and the hobbies. And right now, they're taking a hit. It's not just the adults that are feeling, sad or down or depressed. And so it's really important to not just for them focus on the academics, but to make sure that you're pushing and encouraging them to maintain their social connections and to maintain their hobbies as much as possible.
Oh,
So great.
You are
Candace,
great. You got to give her a hand clap.
You're amazing. Applause
Thank
all
you.
around. It's been so wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for those amazing tips. We hope that things get a little easier at home for all of our parents and all of us in general.